Paying for live stream? Yes, that's what I want to hear. Okay. This content is being sent to Facebook. Good. All right, Zoom.
There we go.
Do your part, right? I just like to make sure that I call it the red button when I go, yeah. So we are live. So great. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. This is Kitty Lundan, host and creator of the People of Power Show. And every week I at least try to sit down with movers and shakers, CEOs, entrepreneurs, some celebs, but basically people who are doing amazing things. And if you've seen the flyer on my page, you know that this is another highlight for the GII, which is the Great Ideal Initiatives Grant. And I just want to make sure that people at least know about the grant because I know I've gotten a lot of questions about it. What is GII and who can get it? So let me just start off real quick. The Great Ideal Initiatives, the GII grant program, is from the Children's Services Council of Palm Beach County and it funds local nonprofits. The GII aims to support programs that benefit the county's children and families, and the GII encourages nonprofits to inspire young people, support parental engagement, improve innovations, create pathways to address racism, and fuel innovative partnerships. So that is a lot. But the young, beautiful lady on my right or left, depending on how you're looking at it, fits all of that. I want to welcome Kelly Olive to the show from Common Ground Community Development. Welcome to the People of Power. How are you this morning or afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in?
Already afternoon. It's hard to
Okay.
believe the day has gotten away. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. I really
Oh, you're
appreciate
so
it.
welcome. Well, first of all, let me just say congratulations. For people who have, and I've actually talked to people on the side who, they've tried to go for the grant. Some people get it, some people don't. So I always say congratulations because everyone does not receive it. So you were one of the 2024 recipients, and obviously you have a great organization because CSC usually backs the best of the best. So again, congratulations for making that number. I want to make sure that people learn more about your program, Kelly, because I'm
Great.
sure that it's going to be mind blowing. I've been blown away with all the organizations that I've interviewed so far, and I think for
Yes.
people who are looking at this now and will look at this later, if you don't know who Kelly Olive is, you will know now. If you don't know what her organization does, you will after this. But I also ask if you know anyone that you know her organization, if you can help her organization or her organization can help someone that hit the share button because it's very important that we get the word out. So give us your humble beginnings, Kelly. I guess maybe just give us a little bit about who you are.
Okay. So my name is Kelly Olive, and I have been married for 38 years
Ooh,
and to the same man. Yeah, it's
bless your heart.
amazing. We worked too hard now to start over. So
All right. Understand.
um, he's a great guy. We've done everything together, so it's wonderful. We have a nonprofit organization. Oh, well, let me back up. He was born and raised in Hollywood, Florida. I was born
Okay.
and raised in Florida as well. And so I've been in Palm Beach County since I was 5. And
Okay.
so we are homegrown and love our community, love our county. So we have a nonprofit. We started in 2006. And it was, like you said, humble beginnings. It was
Mhm.
mostly music lessons and some music classes, art classes, everything around the arts. And uh, we didn't realize even then so much of the importance of affecting culture, arts and culture in kids specifically to help future arts and culture initiatives. And so we were just doing piano lessons and guitar lessons, drum lessons, but we were a little bit of a vagabond gypsy kind of community where we would meet in these places, meet in schools, meet in churches, meet in different places that would be so gracious to allow us to meet. And fast forwarding to 2018, we were able to purchase a building in Lake Worth
Oh,
Beach.
nice. Nice.
Lake Worth Beach is a super artsy community,
Mhm.
and but there's not a lot of artsy things for kids. And there's a lot of opportunities for adults, but not as much music things for kids. And so we're able to get a building in 2018, right in the heart of the city. And we're
Mhm.
we're on Federal Highway and 12th Avenue South. and our organization is called Common Ground Community Development, and we purchased that building, and it took us a year and a half to renovate, and then that brought us to 2020. And we all know
Nice.
what happened in 2020.
Oh yes,
So
the world went bonkers. Yes, we know. Right. Well, you're pulling my heartstrings, and I always say no pun intended because I do play on words, but I love arts. I am I think I should have been a singer, and maybe in my past life I said, hopefully the next life I get the pipes that can definitely solidify what I really want it to be. But I love the fact that now I'm getting at the common ground because I had someone on the show the other week, and we were talking about music, and I said music is such a universal language. It brings people together. And kids especially when they're in a musical setting, it's so therapeutic. um and so I want you to talk more about that, as far as I know how maybe how they come in, but let us know, like, who is it for, like what ages do you service, and do you have to have any musical background?
no, you do not.
Okay.
That's why you're there, is to get that musical background.
Okay.
But I do want to tag on something you just said about the you didn't say camaraderie, but you talked about doing things together. And there's a lot of kids who don't like sports. That's not their thing, and so how are they going to get that activity that's kind of camaraderie? And that was something that, until we were able to really get into our building and start some more community building things, we still didn't have it, because music lessons, you'd come in and the next kid would come in. It was like a revolving door. They would see each other at recitals twice a year, and that was great. But kids need that community, and kids need that collaboration. And so that is one thing that this grant that we got is really helping us to do, is continue to do that, and to help affect. I know I touched on this a minute ago, but to affect culture, what we do now with kids is going to
Mhm.
change arts and culture and our community when they're adults. If they don't
Mhm.
do lessons now, if they don't do music classes and art classes now, where are our future Van Goghs and our future Beethovens and our future I almost said Doctor Who. I meant the Who. Where are our future filmmakers? And that
Right.
they get it when they're kids. And so that we're very passionate about one of my little taglines is imparting the arts. We want
I
to
love
impart
it.
the arts things to kids of all ages, not just kids, but primarily we teach 5 to 18-year-olds.
Okay.
And yeah, but we have adult students and that
Mhm.
sort of thing. And no, you do not need previous experience. But one of the things that I love about what we do is it's not just about what we do, but now that we have a space, we like to give back to what we call arts partners. We like to partner with local music teachers, theater teachers, artists who want to do classes, those kind of things, to have them come
Nice.
in and do their thing
Mhm.
at a very affordable rate, just to cover our expenses, and
Mhm.
gives them somewhere. We don't When we can do it together, it just, that old adage, together we each accomplish more.
Right.
But we just come together to make a big change in kids' lives for the arts.
I love people that I call it, you know, nurture the creative spirit of people, because I am from that. I loved arts. I was in bands. I did acting, ballet, all that stuff, and I like what you said in regards to, every kid does not want to be a doctor, a lawyer, the traditional things that we're taught that, makes good money and people will respect you by. Like, some people want to pick up a brush and paint, and some people want to, bejewel their lives away, right? They want to, or pick up an instrument. I mean, like you said, where would be, you said Van Gogh, I think, and I was going to say Picasso, but there is a space for people who are artistic. And I think that sometimes, unfortunately, and I get it, parents, because I'm a parent too, right? We want that serious degree because it's like we want to have you something stable, but we have those other people like myself who are creative beings who sometimes feel like caged birds when they don't get nurtured in the arts. And I love the fact that you realize that that is definitely a need and an outlet that a lot of people have. And I know I was not one of those people, like, every boy does not want to play basketball or football. Some may want to pick up a clarinet or a bass drum or a paintbrush. And, where does that space lie here in our community? So
Yeah, and some
I
want to
love
do
that.
both, and that's great
Yep,
too.
it's
They
true.
don't have to be limited, but that's one thing. And the since we were able to get a space, and
Hmm.
since post COVID, we've been able to have classes more than just lessons. We have
Hmm.
classes where kids can come together and they can learn from each other. They can learn together, and it's amazing when you do something with somebody else, the impact it makes, rather than, okay, I went to my piano lesson, that was great, or I learned a new, well, great. But when you can learn to play music, do different things like that, it's really not just an after school program or an extracurricular activity. It's very transformative. And it's the power of the arts to, as therapy. You mentioned the word therapy. Sometimes we don't really give that the accolades that it really needs to have, especially in a kid's life. You think they're
Right.
resilient, they'll be fine. No, but some kids, they need to journal, they need to draw, they need to sing, they need to do
Hmm.
something to express their emotions in a healthy way.
Hmm.
And that's something that we're trying really hard to do.
I love it. So for the parents that are looking at this for the first time and kind of feel like you're piquing their interest, and they're like, "Hey, that it sounds interesting." Is it something that is open all year? Is it a certain time that you have the kids come and enroll? So can you just kind of talk about that as well?
It's so interesting.
Mhm.
We're open all year long. We close 4 weeks out of the year.
Okay.
That's one for spring break,
Hmm.
one for Thanksgiving, and two for Christmas time,
Yes.
December break, because the whole world shuts down for that, right?
Right.
So we, again, hate to go back to the COVID thing, but we used to follow a school year and then do summer lessons. And when COVID hit, everybody just wanted to keep going. They were like, oh, let's not stop. So I'm like, yeah, this is way better.
Hmm.
Consistency is a key in learning any kind of thing with the arts. If
Right.
you don't use it, you lose it. And
Hmm.
so we just keep at it. And it's great. So yeah, we're 24/7. We do not 24/7 every
I'm
day
like,
of
you're
the
gonna get
week.
really good calls now. Okay, dropping them
That's
off
a
at
little
10 p.m.
extreme.
Yeah, dropping them off at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Pick them up at 6.
Um, we um, we do piano, drums,
Okay.
guitar, bass, ukulele, voice,
Hmm.
and we one of the things that we started a couple years ago is we have homeschool enrichment classes
Nice.
for. There's not a lot. We're in East Lake Worth, and there's
Okay.
just not a lot in this area, and so we've started some visual arts classes, and
Hmm.
we do podcasting. We have a podcast studio at our
Oh,
our
nice.
space. Yeah, it's really cool. And you and I were talking earlier about having a conversation while we're talking.
Hmm. Hmm.
One of the podcasts that we were doing is called Conversations with World Changers. Like it was very similar to your
Right.
intro, because those are the people with the interesting stories.
That's true.
Um, so, and talking with our arts partners and different things like that. But one of the biggest things for us that really helped was this past summer we did a 2 week summer camp. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I'm not a huge camp fan. I've been very vocal about it. But what we did was we had people nominate kids that love the arts. They had a propensity and a passion for the arts, but
Hmm.
elementary school age. And so they had to be nominated. They had to love the arts. So for 2 weeks, we were able to have a high impact into a small group of kids, 25 kids, with visual arts, theater, and music. and it was magical. And the community that was birthed out of that place, just it gets me excited every time I think about it. And that was back in June. And but that's what was able to help us to get the GII, is we're calling it the C3 program, to its continuation of this arts and culture impact.
I love
And
it.
yeah, so we're going to expose them to um, all kinds of arts and culture,
Mhm.
whether it's visual arts. We've done Norton trips, we've done
Mhm.
plays. We're going to do a storytelling. We have a really great arts partner that works with us who
Mhm.
has all things narrative and does storytelling, and so he's helping them learn and process their life through storytelling. And it's just super exciting what's happening. We're really,
Yeah,
really
I
excited.
love the fact too that you, and I mean, you may be aware, but I'll just point this out as well. For parents who have that desire for their kids to be enrolled into, like, schools like Bach and Dreyfus, those schools that are in G-Star that are geared for artistic students. One of the things that I've learned too is, even though if your child is good at something, these kids that are applying for these, they've been preparing for a long time, right?
Yeah,
So when they're in programs like yours and a couple of other ones that I interviewed, I'm like, this is a good way to get them started, to get them in practice, get them, into the point where they can be one of the best candidates. Not saying it's going to guarantee them in these programs, but at least, you've done your due diligence by getting them enrolled and starting the practices and starting getting them acquainted to the arts, because if you've never picked up a drum, how do you go and say, I want to have my kid in band and right and do an audition against these kids who've been
oh yeah,
putting, putting been drumming since
years
they was
in
three.
years,
Right,
yes.
right. So I love the fact that, it's more like a preparation. It starts them from baseline, but at least gets them to the point where you can feel a little better about auditioning. So I just wanted to say that. I don't know if you've ever had kids that come through your program that
Yeah,
actually eventually go there. Okay, well,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
so it
and we
makes sense.
actually we have one of our arts partners
Hmm.
is a teaching artist at Bach, and she
Oh,
helps kids get into Dreyfus, and
hmm.
then we help more kids get into Bach than Dreyfus. So
And see, disclaimer, I didn't even know that. Right? But I'm hearing what you're saying and I'm just
yeah,
envisioning because I know that those schools are very competitive and these kids, some of them have a different advantage than other kids and they're getting these private lessons and they're doing this. But, like I said, programs like yourself can definitely help them, become better candidates. So I love the fact that I said that and you confirmed it.
yeah. Thank you.
So,
And you said that because there's a lot of
mhm,
kids who can afford it, but there's a lot of kids who can't. So we
correct.
try to keep our lessons affordable.
Hmm.
This is my four little words: affordable, accessible, professional, and fun. Because
Love
if
it.
you can't enjoy music or art, then
Hmm.
why bother? And so you want it, but it has to be affordable and accessible. You don't want kids in an underserved community to not be able to learn the arts just because they didn't have an extra $100 every month, if their parents didn't have that extra around. So
Right.
we try to scholarship a lot of kids. We keep
Hmm.
our rates are on the lower end,
Hmm.
because we still have to pay our teachers, they still have to pay their bills.
Yes.
But we do, and it helps to have some skin in the game, but we want to make it affordable and accessible for anybody.
Yeah. And I'm going to add your website on top of our video once we end so people can go there and get more information. But I was going to
Great.
ask you if people want more information, do they just reach out and call you and say, "Hey, like I have a child that's 6 and I want to get them to start playing," or is that how it usually works?
Usually they can go to the website,
Okay.
cglakeworth.org
Hmm. Okay.
/lessons. And
Okay.
on there, you can register for a free trial lesson
Hmm.
and see if it's a good fit, because you always want your teacher to fit good with your kid.
Hmm.
And we have several of all different, drums and we have more than one of each. And so
Hmm.
making sure it's a good fit.
Great.
And then one of our creative arts director will get back with you.
And lastly, how can the community help you?
Well, thank you. Um, if I would say, how can the community help us? One, if they want to support the arts, every dollar that comes in, we squeeze those dollars to go
Hmm.
very far. um, if they have an idea for something they would love to see done in the community and within the arts, please come and we would be happy to give you a tax write-off. Donations are always great, but also if you are, maybe you're a retired music teacher, maybe you're a retired um, art teacher or something, and you would like to be able to give back to the community, we'd love
Mhm.
to have you come teach classes or do things like that, because it's not all about what we can do, it's about what can get done there.
Right, right, right. And that's why I always like to do a call for action because there are people that may be, like you said, retired and, sometimes they get bored and, they're like, I wish I could teach some students or I wish there was
Yeah,
and now we're giving the information out and say, hey, this is an opportunity for you to pay it forward and, give back to kids that one day aspire to be like you. But I think it's just a great thing. Do you ever have like recitals or any upcoming events
yeah.
that you have?
We actually have
Okay.
our winter recital this Sunday on
Oh,
December
see, didn't know
15th.
that. Now I
Yeah.
know. Okay, December
At
15th.
4 p.m.
Are you doing tickets? Are tickets?
No, I
Okay.
have to be honest with you. I have a really hard time.
Hmm.
I'm a mom of three. My kids
Okay.
are much older now, but I always had a hard time if they were involved in something. And so
Hmm.
I had to pay for their lessons. I had to pay tickets to go watch them perform. I had to buy costumes, had to do all that. It's
A
so
lot.
we don't charge for recitals. Um,
Okay.
yeah. And we love for anybody in the community to come.
So it's
But
this Sunday? It's this
this
Sunday,
Sunday
right?
at 4 p.m. and our
Okay.
address is on the website.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we'd love to have anybody come check it out, even if it's something they just want to learn a little bit more about
I was
and
going to
see
say
some of the
good
kids.
good exposure. That would be a great way to get the information out too, because people can see the finished product. Because usually the recital is the finished product,
Yes.
and I'm sure that you've probably seen kids that come in one way. I always like to hear those stories where they come in one way and then as they develop, they leave out another way. It's such a great to
Yeah.
see I call it the metamorphosis, like the caterpillar
Oh, I
to the
like that.
right to the
Hmm.
butterfly because some kids come in shy and they don't know what to expect and they're like sometimes the mom or dad makes them come and then they end up liking it and then they end up being brilliant at it and they end up being success stories and it's just a great thing to have so
If we have time for just one quick
yes,
story,
yes.
we really like to match with the kids' interests. We give them a good foundation in
Hmm.
music theory and art disciplines. But if a kid is starting to act like maybe I'm not real interested, but that they are an artist or
Hmm.
they're a musician, we like to match with what they like to do. We ask them, do you like jazz? Do you like pop? You like classical, what do you want to learn? And we try to really master that. And we had a family years ago who these kids, every year their mom was the first to sign them up, and the first year they were excited, second year they were okay, third year they were like, they did not want to keep coming. So I
Right.
was like, y'all are here. Your mom is making you do this.
Hmm.
What do you want to learn? And we adjusted their lessons to learn like a different style of music and a different way of learning. And they turned a whole room in their house into a music room. And they got all these instruments. They did all these things. You just have to tap into
Wow.
those passions, and that's what we like to try to do.
I like that so you adjust the artist. I like
Yeah.
it.
We're all different. We're all part of the
That's true.
mosaic.
Well, I see why you are a recipient for the GII. So I want to again, thank Children's Services Council of Palm Beach County for sponsoring and funding organizations like this. Kelly, do you have any final words? I mean, I know that was a story, but just anything as we wrap up, that you would like
Yes,
to say?
a great big thank you to Children's
Hmm.
Services Council. We have applied in the past, and this was the
Hmm.
first year we got it, and
Okay.
it was the best year to get it, I will say. It's just building on so many other things we're doing right now, and
Mm-hmm.
so a big thank you to that, and a big thank you to you for taking your time.
Oh, you're welcome. And I want to thank everyone who's watching now and will watch later. I love the fact that, these shows, sometimes, we get them in the daytime and people can't watch or at night, but they're evergreen. Your organization is not going anywhere anytime soon. So whether they look at it now or next year, they'll see the video and they'll get the information. Once again, I'll put the website on top so people can, go at their leisure and look at it. And your recital, again, is this Sunday. It's free. I always say my favorite F word, Kelly, is my favorite F word is free. It is free. And so if you're interested in learning more about the organization, I think the best thing to do is one, give them a call, but also if you want to go to a nice recital on a Sunday, it's a nice time to go. It's the end of the year holiday celebration. So I want to
Yeah.
thank you again for all that you do. Thank your husband. I haven't met him, but tell him thank you as well.
We'll put him
'Cause I
on here
know
next time.
it takes a village.
Yeah.
It takes a
I
village.
have the
And
best team ever. So yeah.
well, thank you, team. Thank you, team, for assisting. And so, if you also, too, I always tell people if you are a Palm Beach County resident, please make sure you download the Every Parent app exclusively for Palm Beach County. It gives you all things to do, all the information that we have going on. And thank you again, CSC of Palm Beach County, for keeping Palm Beach County's children healthy, safe, and strong. So, Kelly, I know
Yes.
we are done, but you are a member now, and if you have any flyers or anything that's coming up for next year, let me know. You have my email and I can send it out and I can share it with the community as well.
Great. Thanks so much.
All right, you're welcome and happy holidays.
Yeah, you too.
All
Bye.
right, have a great one. Bye
You
bye.
too. Bye.